Ladies and gentlemen, can I just call this event to order? Thank you. Welcome to all of you, especially those friends and guests from overseas, traveled a long way. I'm here, my name is Christy Cherian. I'm a long-time friend of Surender Singh Kandhari. Met him 55 years ago. He was 15, I was probably a year older, in a college called Loyola in Madras, which is a city in the south of India. All those qualities that you know, having met and been with Surender Kandhari, all those qualities of leadership, gentleman to the core, generous to a fault. All those qualities I could see in him even at the age of 15. Let me tell you, he has not changed one bit, and I think all of you will agree with that. This event is to actually launch a book he's been planning for quite a while. The book, The Dream, the Temple of My Dreams. And we are here to celebrate this particular event. I'm very happy to actually be here with Surender and the family and all of you who are present this evening. And I take this opportunity to welcome His Excellency Sheikh Nahayan bin Mabarak Al Nahayan and all the other guests who are present here. I'd like to very quickly introduce His Excellency Sheikh Nahayan. Most of you know him, but for overseas visitors, he is a cabinet minister in the UAE government and the Minister for Tolerance. He has held a lot of offices over 26 years, and I would like to welcome him on stage now.
Good evening, my dear Navdeep and Mani, His Excellency Ambassador of India, Mr. Surender Singh Kandhari, Mr. Bikar and Vara, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first chapter and the second volume of Surender Singh Kandhari's story. The first volume was celebrated right now. I suspect that Surender will describe today's celebration and the opening chapter of his remarkable life story, Volume 2. Our vigorous, visionary, entrepreneurial, and charitable friend may only be getting underway. After all, Surender is a tires man, and tires are made for moving. At this very moment, over 5 billion tires are rotating on the roads that wind around our globe. These tires enable the world's production, its commerce, and ultimately its well-being. Those tires help us cross artificial boundaries and allow us to come together. Surender has for decades cared for our tires, our mobility, our prosperity, our well-being. We have relied on his competence and have never been disappointed. I had the privilege of writing in the foreword to Surender's engaging autobiography that the story of his success reveals how the spirit of tolerance evoked by our founder, the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahayan, encouraged skilled and ambitious people to participate in the development of the UAE. The achievements of Surender in Dubai have confirmed the wisdom of Sheikh Zayed. The spirit of tolerance that marked the leadership of Sheikh Zayed continues to characterize the actions of His Highness the President Sheikh Ali bin Zayed Al Nahyan, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President, Prime Minister of Dubai, and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, and the Deputy Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. The United Arab Emirates, under the wise leadership, has committed itself to bridging the gaps that separates us and discovering and celebrating the bonds that unite us. When we look across the Arabian Sea, we identify a similar attitude in India, our great friend. We in the United Arab Emirates deeply value our friendship with India and hope that the excellent special relations between our two countries will grow ever stronger and increasingly productive. My dear friends, the spirit of tolerance in the United Arab Emirates is nowhere better expressed than at the Guru Nanak Darbar that stands open to all, irrespective of caste or creed, who seek peace, solace, and hope. The enlightened generosity of Surender Singh Kandhari and of other members of the Sikh community in Dubai has educated at the UAE Global Crossroads. They erected a gorgeous structure that encourages that tolerance which can overcome distrust and fear and can promote genuine understanding among the diverse elements of a global population. A Roman poet once wrote that to give is a thing that requires genius. Surender has shown genius repeatedly in his illustrious career. To read the story of his life so far is to encounter that genius. I am positive that he will continue to give us all an inspirational example by beginning to compose Volume 2 before he sleeps tonight. In the meantime, Surender, I know that I speak for everyone here when I say thank you for Volume 1, a gift of genius. I wish all of you, and through you, all the people of India, great success and continued well-being in the years to come. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Can I ask or request His Excellency to kindly pass this book? It is many happy returns to the Indian ambassador on his birthday today, and we're going to have cake cutting.
Sheikh Nahayan bin Mabarak al-Nahayan, Minister for Tolerance, and dare I say, our most respected friend. My friend Surender and Bubbles, distinguished guests who are here this evening. When I grew up, it was always interesting to read autobiographies because I felt that you could also always learn so much from them. And I'm reminded, Your Highness, of a very famous Punjabi writer, Amrita Preetham. In fact, this year we are celebrating her centenary. And she led a very independent life and was distinguished for her poetry and her work. And yet, when a friend of hers said, Amrita, you've gone through so much, you need to write your autobiography. And she said, come on, what's so interesting about my life? Everything that is worth knowing could be put down on the back of a revenue stamp. And yet she was persuaded, and her autobiography was called The Revenue Stamp. When I saw the information about Surender's autobiography, I knew there was no such challenge. For somebody who has gone through so many diverse experiences as an entrepreneur, as a philanthropist, as a golfer, as the builder of the temple of his dreams, I know that there would be enough interest. He gave a slight advantage to Sheikh Nahayan by giving a copy of, or letting him know what the book was about. I will have that pleasure later on, perhaps this evening. But Surender, I need to tell you that being from Amritsar as we are, we'd heard about you before we came here. And there was this kind of a mystique about you, about this Sardar from the south of India, who has built this marvelous temple in Dubai, the marvelous Guruduwara in Dubai, and who very quietly contributes to so many good causes in the name of education and social well-being back home in Punjab and elsewhere. So Surender, for all of those reasons, but particularly for having created an institution that makes us all proud. And for that, I say not just us Sikhs, but us Indians who represent the diversity of India that we do, that you've built an institution that opens its doors to everybody, and in a sense, exemplifies that spirit of the Sikh faith, where Guru Nanak, the founder of the Sikh faith, whose 550th anniversary we will be celebrating from November this year, who himself, his two leading disciples, were a Hindu and a Muslim, and whose whole effort to create a new faith called Sikhism was to be a syncretic religion that took the best of its times. And the whole idea of a holy book that would be the guru for the community, but a guru that includes some of the leading intellectuals, some of the leading thinkers of the time, regardless of their faith, whether it be Kabir, whether it be Ravidas, whether it be Sheikh Farid, or so many others. That's the India that all of us who come from our great country represent. And in building this Gurudwara, you've done us proud. So it's not just the temple of your dreams, but I think you've also captured the dreams and aspirations of so many others in the community. Well done, Surender. Congratulations and all the very best.
That was a most excellent video. Enjoyed it thoroughly. I'd like to now introduce two of Surender's very close. One is a mentor and a longtime friend, and another friend. This is R.N.K. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi, can I request you to come up on stage?
His Excellency, the Ambassador of India to the UAE, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I feel honored to have been asked to say a few words on this great occasion. The first thing first is that it confirms Surender's prowess for prose. I do hope that the beginning he has made in writing his autobiography, he will carry on the same, writing further from time to time. I find the title of the book very captivating, very arresting, very meaningful. And I think we will immediately connect the title of the book to the efforts that he has made and the service that he has rendered to the community and to India and to people all over of building up this famous, or now become famous, the temple, the Guru Nanak Darbar. I know the book will contain many things. There will be something for all of us, for every one of us. But the book shall answer also for the young business people some of the answers to their questions, some of the answers to the situation. I have known Surender for a long time, and I know that in the conduct of his business, he has left nothing undone or untouched which will not be praiseworthy. After he came over to UAE, he embraced Dubai, the city, its soil, and he grew from very humble, modest beginning to today a very large trading company having 1,800 people working with him and his team, and for converting his dream, converting his vision of making Al-Dabawi a strong, robust trading company, a global company, a station for in this region. There are a few things that on this occasion I will want to mention. Number one is that I know in business or in any other activity, one does have moments of disappointment. But for Surender, I can mention to you, he has not taken any disappointment seriously because he knows no disappointment is final. The second thing that I would like to highlight is Surender has been associated with principals, suppliers, manufacturers, and a lot of other people. And different people have different expectations. But why not? After all, they represent a particular purpose, so therefore their expectations are different. What I've noticed and seen personally, that Surender with his magnificent ways, his maturity, has been able to harmonize the differing views and expectations, that the various interests that he has met in the course of his business, because behind, of course, his kind of magical touch, there has been his need and desire to move forward. And I'm sure he will move even further forward, move more forward in the years to come. He has a very different vision. His vision is different from many others. I myself had a vision when I was, of course, in employment. His vision, he has combined it with a great deal of humility. His vision, he has combined it with generosity of love. His vision, he has combined with service of the others in a very selfless manner. Now, this is what makes his vision different from the others. His mission, of course, we all know, is to make Al-Dabawi a wonderful name in global trading. And I think one cannot hesitate to say that he has brought the stature of the Indian community resident in Dubai or in UAE to a very high level. Because I think in his ways and in his working over here, he has applied the best principles of integrity, in sincerity, and taking his own company along the lines, of course, of the growth of this particular area. I've been here this time just for 2 days, and I know Surender is in the right environment, and I think he's going to enjoy the environment even more as from now. I have in the last 2 days been reading about the spirit of charity in UAE, and the charity, as the newspapers, the media, is claiming that charity is now becoming a culture here in UAE. And I think this is the environment which will give Surender his passion for serving the others. This is the environment which will make Surender carry on with whatever else he is doing. I, on this occasion, want to only quote a saying of J.R.D. Tata. And for this, I will have to read from what he has said, because I don't want to miss out on his words, and I don't want to make a mistake, which of course will be forgivable in my case, considering my seniority of age. This is what Mr. J.R.D. Tata had said once. Nobody needs introduction. He doesn't need any introduction because everyone knows the name J.R.D. Tata. This is what he said. No success or achievement in material terms is worthwhile unless it serves the needs or interests of the country and its people and is achieved by fair and honest means. He's saying, the quote closed. Now, this is what aptly describes the temperament, the personality, the overall outlook of Surender Kandhari, and this also very aptly says and conveys that he will always be keeping, as he has been doing it and will continue to do so, he will keep fair and honest means in the forefront of whatever endeavor or effort he is going to make and as continues to make. I thank you very much. I have taken a lot of time, and His Excellency, you will have to excuse me because I have really surpassed. I was warned by Surender that I have to be concise and brief, but I think I will never get in my lifetime for another occasion like this. So therefore, I beg your forgiveness for taking time. Thank you so much.
I will now, thank you very much, Mr. Gandhi. will now actually request Christopher May, another friend of Surender Kandhari, to kindly come up.
Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. When I came to Dubai in 1999, in my very first week, I was very fortunate to meet Surender and Mike Gerbich. And I can still remember it to this day because both Mike and Surender gave me an amazing welcome and made me feel in my first week in Dubai that I could live here, and I think I quite like it. So I thank you very much for the welcome you gave me in 1999. That smile and welcoming attitude in life has remained with you today, and you remained exactly the same as you did in 1999, not only with myself, but with all my colleagues in the golf club as well. Surender is a very important gentleman, as we've all heard earlier, but he's very important to us at our golf club. He was one of our founder members, having joined the club as it opened in 1988. And the Kandhari family as a whole have been great supporters of the club over many, many years. Indeed, Surender was our captain in 2008, 2009. You may have noticed the picture up earlier in the presentation of Surender in his year of captaincy. It happened to, for his good fortune, happened to coincide with Rory McIlroy's first win as a professional. Or maybe it was Rory was lucky that it coincided with Surender's captaincy. Surender's always been a very active member at the club, very supportive in many of our charity initiatives through the Indian Invitational Golf Day, which has been running at the club for almost 30 years. He's been integral in making generous donations to our junior colleagues at the operation, and all the events that Surender has been part of have been very inclusive of all different nationalities, and for that we're very, very grateful at the club. In addition to the Indian Invitational, Surender's been a generous sponsor through the Al Dabawi Mixed Amateur event and the Hankook Greensams, which are both fixtures on the annual calendar that everyone looks forward to. But the one thing that really sticks out for me about Surender is the way that he treats members and guests of all different nationalities. And that goes the same for Bubbles and the rest of his family. And we look forward to welcoming you at the club for many, many years to come. We wish you and your family health, happiness, and longevity, and we look forward to welcoming you to the club for many, many years to come. We wish you the very best with the book. I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting and insightful read, and we wish you a very successful future and all the best with the book. Thank you very much, Surender.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a 10-minute break where we're going to have some refreshments, and we'll probably start again in the second part with a Q&A introduced by Vikram Vora. And we should be fun with a lot of interesting, maybe some embarrassing questions as well. All the best. See you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Vikram Vora, and I am 1 year junior than these three blighters on the stage. All four of us were in college. Cherry, and stop swiping booze and come and sit down over here. All four of us were in Loyola College together in the 60s. I was 1 year younger, I still am. To sit down. We are going to... Surender and I were the two of 5 Punjabis in Loyola College in 1967-68. And I used to eat with my left hand. And all the sea mess walked out in protest because eating with your left hand in the South is not accepted. Since he was the president of our society, I asked him to help me out, and he did. And 52 years later, he's still doing the same, being a good friend. But today, the three of us together are going to give him a bit of a hard time. So please join us. We're going to talk to him for a few minutes about him, his family, his lovely wife, and what this book meant to him and how he got down to doing it. After that, we're going to open the house, questions to the people in the house who specially flown in and have had an impact, a very special impact on Surender's life. So let's just start off by saying hi. We're all here, three of us. These three seniors have been bullying me for the last 52 years, but today I'm going to get even. Just before I start. See, again they're pulling rank. We start off with a floral presentation for my friend. Oh, wow. From Dr. Shibani's office, especially for Surender. Are you good to go? I must tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, now that you've settled down. Surender called me one day about 8 months ago and he said, I'm writing a book. Being a journalist, my first reaction was, oh, you want me to help you write it? He said, no, I've already written it. So I said, what do you want to do with it? He said, just have a look at it and see if you can dot the I's and cross the T's. So I agreed to do that and I made very heavy weather of it. But I have to say this to you, the book is entirely his and my corrections didn't really count for very much. On that high note, let me ask you, Surender, how did you get the title for this book? Because everyone says to me, the title was super. Tell them I gave it to you. Go on.
First of all, thank you very much for joining us this evening. The title of the book, Temple of My Dreams, was given to me by Ashwin Gidwani. Where are you, Ashwin? Can you stand up?
There he
He's
is. Yeah.
And he was the one who pushed me to write this book. And he said, it's going to be a success story of yours. And the title of Temple of My Dreams was his idea. And thank you, Ashwin. Thank you very much for that.
Tell us one thing. Every time you talk to Surender quietly or his friends or when you're driving in the car, he says bubbles. He just says bubbles, right? And then I asked him one day, I said, why do you keep saying bubbles? He says, because she's my inspiration and my rock. Why? You don't agree that you're his inspiration and his rock? Of course you are. Yes, you are. You can't hear me. I'm yelling at the top of my voice. Okay. So he says to me, he says, she is my inspiration and my rock. You. Right? And I said to him, I said, all right, for all the husbands over here, on this epic occasion, tell us how she's your rock and your strength.
They always say that behind every successful man, there's a woman. But Bubbles is not behind me. She stands shoulder to shoulder. She is the wind beneath my wings.
I give him the line.
Look at the trouble all the other husbands are going to be on the way back in the car. Right? See that man? What a guy. Look at the way he talks. Look at you. You never say anything like that to me. I know I'm going to be in trouble, that's for sure. I want to ask you another question. By the way, you guys, you can butt in when you like and you can ask him any questions you like. I am 1 year junior to them in college. They never let me forget the fact. That's why I look younger. Where's that photograph? Can we have that photograph where we're all in the picture together?
That's all right, you're there.
Yeah? All right, tell us one thing. Tell everybody, how difficult was it for those 8-9 months to write this book?
I think it's all up in the mind. Once you make a commitment to yourself, and once you decide that, yes, you want to do it, then you can do it. And I took the decision in my mind, let me do it, and I did it. I'm quite happy. Of course, there were difficult times when I was to sit on the table with a pen in my hand, did not know what to write.
The inspiration disappears, the mood
everything disappeared and I was blank in my mind. But then again it came back and God has been very kind. I think it is God's will and the strength of my conviction I wrote the book.
Besides bubbles, what else kept you going? What was the inspiration?
There's no inspiration without bubbles.
Whoa, okay.
But
I hope you other husbands are learning all this. I'm learning a lot just now anyway.
But one thing I must tell you all that my strong belief in God Almighty, and I think there's only one person in this universe that moves the entire world, and that is He and He and He. If you all believe in Him, you can never go wrong. And God has been with me all the time, and I'm very grateful for that.
How did you feel when you wrote the last word? You know, the last full stop, dot, done.
I thought enough is enough. I didn't want people to get bored.
Yeah, well, that's a nice one.
Surender, what is the next thing you want to do in the next phase of your life?
In the book, I have talked about university for tyre dealers. And I think that's my next subject I want to start. A university for tyre dealers, battery dealers, because in our industry of tyres and batteries, we don't have any educational institutions to support the industry. And the second inspiration is to have a global platform to promote the values of Guru Nanak, the values of Sikhism. Because 550 years ago, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of our religion, he preached interfaith. He was the first Guru who had a Hindu on the left-hand side and a Muslim on the right-hand side. And that was the starting of the Sikh religion 550 years ago. And that inspiration really helped me.
No, that's very, very inspiring, definitely, on both counts. I think this idea of a university is very interesting. How are you going to set about it?
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, well... Yeah.
I have the will, I'll find the way.
Yes, you got everybody back into CMS, so that's all right. I can imagine that. Okay. I want to ask you to share with everybody over here for a moment, before we ask a few people who especially come in a few questions. I have a question for you. Could you share with everybody here? I know they're all going to get a copy of the book when they go out. Did you all know that? You will get a copy of the book when you go out. Especially designed bag by Bubbles. Yep. I've only mentioned you thrice. We agreed that I could mention you 9 times. So I got 6 more to go.
Is it because the cat has 9 lives?
Could you share with everybody, as I said, some of the strands of thought that are in the book?
In the book, what I have tried to explain is the 3 ways of living. One has to have the holistic approach. It's very easy to make money, but making money the right way is what I believe in. And that has been the crux of my life. And that's what I'm trying to project in the book, is please, everybody has to make money, but make it the right way. And second thing is, learn to serve humanity. Because there's God in every human being, and if you respect human beings, you're respecting God. So this is what is helping me to grow.
Having said that, I want to ask you one question about sport. You're a sportsman yourself. Sitting next to you is an Indian Davis Cup player, ladies and gentlemen, CJK Bhupati, whom we should give him a big hand. CJK does not like to be introduced as Mahesh Bhupati's father, Mahesh being one of our top tennis players. So I shall keep that in mind and introduce him as Mahesh Bhupati's father. Yeah? Well, that's true. Sorry about that. Yeah. It's a heck of an opportunity to have 3 senior people from your college and you can get even with them on stage. And I've got the microphone, right? And that's Christy Cherian. These 2 gentlemen stood for elections. Christy Cherian on the card, yes, and Surender Singh Kandhari on the card in Loyola College. And would you believe it, they won? They won the election. You remember that? Yeah, it was incredible.
In the Loyola College, Madras, we had one Sardarji and about 5,000 students, all South Indians. And one single Sardarji during Indian Hindi agitation, when Tamil Nadu was refusing to accept Hindi. This guy stand for union presidentship and won it. Which is an incredible feat in those days, in 1967, to have won that election. But Surender was, as today you see him, he was personable, humble, and his humility and his ability to make everybody feel comfortable won over all the Tamil students and South Indian students, and he became the president of the union.
True, absolutely. Any message for everyone before we start calling your friends in to say a few wicked things about you?
I always tell everybody, please believe in yourself. Once you believe in yourself, you can never do anything wrong.
That's true. On that high note, I'd like to call a few friends and relatives of Surender. Many, many years ago in Bombay, or what we call Mumbai now, there was a police officer, we're still a police officer, and a very good friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here today the tycoon of traffic, the czar who changed Bombay's traffic completely, Dr. P.S. Pasricha, and it'll be a pleasure to have him say a few words.
Before I speak something about Surender, very close friend of mine, I have one question. It is said that behind every successful man, there's a woman. It never said wife. So tell us the truth.
Good.
Well, I know Surender for the last about 11 years plus. But we became very close when I was associated with the Nanak Darbar. He incorporated me on the board, and my visits were very, very frequent. And then I saw the man, his personality, a man of impeccable integrity, very vulnerable, very sensitive, at times impulsive. We used to call Bubble and I used to call Bola Admi, Bola Shah. Gets easily carried away, but truthful to the core. A very fine man who valued the values, and that's what I admire in him. So, because there are many people who excel in business, but there are very few who not only excel in business, make money, but also keep up the value system, because it's not easy to earn with the value system. But he's one of the very few I know who has done both. My good wishes, lots of love, and Bubble really, even though she's his wife, she's a real strength. Thank you.
As I said to you, Surender is a great sport. So naturally, many of his friends are sportsmen. We're happy to have here today amongst us at the time when we go for the 5th test against England, which is a subject I don't want to talk about, neither does he. Ladies and gentlemen, Bishan Singh Bedi is with us, our former Indian captain. We'd love to have him come and say a few words to us. Yay! You say the microphone.
Yeah. Thank you, Surender, for having me. A wonderful occasion. You made us, all of us, who've known you for quite some time now, feel 10 feet tall. We have our Indian ambassador sitting here, whose birthday it was today and yours was yesterday. All I'd like to say is, last July, I called up Sir Garfield Sobers on his 80th birthday, wishing him well. And he said, who is it? Who is it? I said, Bishan Bedi from Delhi. Oh, Bishan, you're very kind like this. And we were exchanging some pleasantries, and I said, I hope you're keeping well. And he came out with a wonderful statement. He said, Bishan, you know, only the living get old. You know? So this is my humble tribute to Surender. You've done a magnificent job for yourself, for your family, for the community around you. Plus, the temple of your dreams is the temple of all of us.
Yeah, yeah.
God bless.
Thank
God
you.
bless. Thank you very much.
Would now like to call in Mr. Kulwant Singh Kohli, the ex-sheriff, former sheriff of Bombay, who's here with us tonight, to say a few words to Surender.
I knew Surender from the very first day when he entered our family.
But I thought Bubbles just
Right from the day
and you
he was married
leave these out.
till today,
Bubbles.
I can tell you what we had learned, what we had heard about him is really coming to the point, and the seva of community which he is doing is wonderful. I can't speak more because you can't have word for your own people. I can talk for others. I can only tell, I pray to God that God bless him, and Bubble and Surender, whatever you are doing in Dubai, in India, in the world, you should continue it, repeat it. Don't forget that God is there who is seeing everything. He's always with you. Trust God and you'll be always happy. Thank you.
Thank you. As you notice, ladies and gentlemen, the sheriff has the right idea. He addressed Bubbles and not Surender right through the talk. Absolutely splendid. On that high note, let's have Bubbles say a few words. Oh, I have a question for Bubbles, actually. Yay! Microphone, please. This is indeed the high spot of the evening. I mentioned you only 5 times yet.
What would you want me to say?
Okay, question 1. How difficult was he when he was writing the book?
You want me to stand for this? How difficult was he?
When he was he grumpy, grouchy?
Whilst he was writing the book or generally? That's what he is. You want to know the truth? All these great adjectives about him is okay, but what happens in the house? I'll have to open that out. He is grumpy, grouchy old man. Turned 70.
True. Agree.
No. He's a wonderful soul, and any janam, if I was to be reborn, and I would love to be having him as my husband.
Oh. This drive back for a lot of couples is going to be more and more difficult as the evening wears on. I can see that. Yeah. I'd like to call Jasjeev Singh Kandhari to please come up. He's been bullying me all afternoon today to say, what question are you going to ask me? Jasjeev, where are you?
So what do you want to call me?
See, he's already confrontational.
Yeah. You said.
Tell us. No, I'll ask you a very simple question.
Go for it.
Okay. What are the values that you learned from your dad?
Oh, we have only an hour left. I don't have that much time. So I said we only have an hour left. I can't go through that list, but I'll give you a few main ones which come to mind immediately. I mean, honesty, integrity are critical. You know, he's said to me many times, it takes a generation to build a reputation, but in one slip of the tongue and one action, you can destroy everything. So I'm trying to tell him, no, I can do it in 2.
What are the values you've taught him?
What are patience? A lot of patience. So I think with
patience. All right, that's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with my dad, you know, when I joined the business, it was very interesting because I came to the office and he said to me immediately, right, here's the checkbook, here's the office, you run it, I'm off now. And I said, sorry. He says, yep, that's one business, you take care of it, I'm going to look after the other stuff and keep growing. And that's what he's been doing throughout. I mean, you know, most fathers, and these are for any kids that are over here, I have an amazing dad because he gave me responsibility from day one. And I don't remember a time where he beat me up for screwing up, excuse my French. He's always been supportive, and honestly, with that, has been our true success. The success that's come is only because he's encouraged me always. Whether I'm right or wrong, he will never ever pull me down, which I think is a very great quality. And I cannot believe that we would be where we are or I would be where I am without him. And you know, he's lighter than me, His shoe size is smaller than mine, but I could never fill his footsteps, ever. He is lighter than me, trust me, a lot lighter than me. Yeah. And if I even tried to do that, and then I'd have to try and catch up with my mum's footsteps, it's even harder. But no, as my mum said, if I ever had a choice, not that I did, but if I ever had a choice to choose a father 100 times over, I would be.
Yeah. He's all choked up.
Absolutely.
He can't even talk at the moment.
Yeah. No, I've got a cold. I'm not choked up.
Splendid. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
it wasn't
you.
a difficult question.
Ladies and gentlemen, the genius who figured out the title of the book has to say a few words now. Ladies and gentlemen, I call on Ashwin Gidwani to say a few words, please, to his friend and to tell us how he came up with this name.
Well, Surender is a very prolific human being, and he was a huge inspiration to all of us to actually put up the Gurudwara here in UAE. A big step for our community, for our country. It's a symbol of our strength, our passion, our religion, our emotion, our freedom. And it's given so much of rhythm to people who need help. So I went to the Gurudwara for the first time, saw this edifice. It was built with so much of love, care, affection. I heard the stories of how he came about to fund it for the first step. And he was given the responsibility that he would be the only one who could do that at that point. From there on, I was inspired. And I felt that there was some day that he has to put these thoughts down in paper and publish it and share it with everybody. But there's a cross between that and what he's achieved in his life. So if you put those two things together, I see a truly successful human being who inspires all of us. So, Surender, congratulations. I want to see 1 million copies, and we're going to help you do that. All the best.
A good friend of Surender's, CEO of Eternity Technologies from Russell Khaimah. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mark Stevenson. After that.
Thank you. I've worked with Surender for 20 years, and we met by accident. I think fate has taken us along for the 20 years, ups and downs, always positive, always going forward, and he's always a delight to work with, and I couldn't have wished for a better guy to have spent the last 20 years with, and hopefully a few more. The old dogs won't lie down yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's stand. Ladies and gentlemen, we must stand for the most important person in the room, the father-in-law, Mr. K.S. Chadha.
I am very lucky to have a son-in-law in the name of Surender. We know each other for the last almost 45 years, rather 47 years, and he has been more than a son to me. In fact, when I saw him first time in Hyderabad, before marriage, I liked him and I gave away my daughter. And today, both of them are enjoying their time, life, and prosperity. May God give them all the virtues that they are having, not only creating a Gurudwara, but a symbol of all the communities should be imbibed into temple that he has thought of. With these words, I congratulate him and wish him a very, very long and happy life.
Thank you.
May God give him.
Well done. Excellent. Yeah.
Thank you all for coming this evening. I have people coming from all over the world, from Washington, from India, from Europe, from Saudi Arabia. I mean, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm humbled. Thank you very much for coming for this book launch of mine. I hope you enjoy reading it. And I'm very grateful to His Excellency, Mr. Navdeep Singh Suri, and his gracious wife, Mani Suri, for coming and launching this autobiography with Sheikh Nahayan. Sheikh Nahayan is one person who gives you encouragement to do all good things. And I've learned a lot from him. He's an excellent human being who's taught me how to serve the community, how to serve everybody. And I think we all owe it to the UAE government for allowing us the freedom of religion. And we're very grateful to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President, Prime Minister and ruler of Dubai, for giving land free to build the first Sikh temple, the Guruduwara in Dubai, called Guru Nanak Sahib. This is the temple of my dreams, and this was told to me when I was 8 years old, when my grandfather built the first Gurudwara in Vijayawada in Andhra Pradesh. And he just told me, son, you must now, when you grow old, build a temple. And those very words have gone in my mind. And when this Gurudwara came into being, I remembered his kind words, which were the inspiration behind my deeds and thoughts. There are a few people I want to thank, because this book would have not been complete. First of all, Ashwin Gidwani for giving me the title. Thank you, Ashwin. Bikram Vora for correcting all my bad English. I think I'll fail if I don't thank Bubbles. She did a lot of hard work in correcting my English. Though I thought I was a good English speaking person, but she's better than me. And then I must thank Reena and Christopher from my office, who have been really working day and night. Because for me, it is a journey, a long journey. And we have here in our midst Mr. Kuldeep Singh Lamba. Is he here? Oh, he's left. Oh, he's there. Mr. Kuldeep Singh Lamba from Kuwait. He's been in Kuwait for over 60 years. And he was one inspirational who told my father, why don't you send your son to the Middle East and start some business there? And thank you, Kuldeep ji. Thanks to you, I am here today. Thank you very much. Christy, thank you for being a great master of ceremonies. You have relived our old college days when I was the president and he was the general secretary, and we used to conduct such forums regularly. We were very lucky when we was in college. We had Father Pedro Arupe, who would come as a Jesuit Pope from Vatican. And we also had Sir Garfield Sobers, the cricket legend who came to our college. And so we were very lucky when we were in college, we met a lot of important people. Once again, I will thank all of you who have joined us this evening. I think I'll fail if I don't thank Motivate Publishing, because Ian Fairservice and his team, Chris and Ashwati, have been very nice to me. They've done a good job in getting the book published. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Chris. And I think I'll look forward to getting this book across to a lot of people in the world. I've been told here by a message, please thank your family. Without your family, you're nobody. My son Jaji, my daughter-in-law Anju, my 3 grandchildren, Sahej, Sumer and Karam, and my sisters who come all the way. One sister has come from Melbourne, one comes from Delhi, one comes from Hyderabad, So I mean, I'm so lucky that my brother-in-laws are here, my father-in-law is here, my Chote Nanaji Kohli Sahib is here. I mean, I'm so lucky today that the whole family from all over the world is here. And Dr. Rajwant Singh from Washington. So I think it's a great feeling for me to have everybody together. And my local UAE friends, thank you very much. Please enjoy the evening. God bless you all.
That was absolutely terrific, Surender. Always good to hear you and always grateful to be present at these events of yours. We're now at the close of the formal part of the evening. I'm going to call upon a group who is going to perform here, the Malhar group.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai.